In last week's episode, Tilda was launched again, after an intense week of boat work on the Hard. And this week I finally leave Sweden, sailing towards Denmark. I also, for the very first time, invite one of my Patreons that I have never met before to come sailing with me. Yesterday my Patreon Taylor arrived at the boat, and today we are off for Denmark, so officially leaving Sweden. And the wind forecast was super good when we watched it yesterday, but today is looking like very little wind, so it's going to be a long day, I guess. But it's warm and it's going to be sunny, so I think we're going to have a good day with a long sail to Denmark. We left in the early morning with the hope of getting as far as possible before the wind would die. Taylor got quickly into it, and for the first hours we made about 3 knots, trying to sail wing on wing, to get as straight as possible towards destination. But eventually the wind dropped and we gave it a little bit of support with the engine. Then there was no wind at all, and we also took the main down and motored the last part of the tour. Disappeared. Like every time, as soon as I take the camera out, I'm pretty certain it was a seal. After a little bit more motoring than we wished for, we arrived at Lassa, at the popular harbour of Österby. But it was clear we were here well before season, and there was plenty of spots for us to choose from. We noticed the very different bow shapes of the fisher boats. It seems like a very good protection for the waves out here. I've heard so many good things about this place, and my expectations were set super high, so as soon as we docked I wanted to stroll around and see all the old houses with the grass roofs. And on the way we passed this beautiful park with rhododendrons. I guess we are here a little bit early in the season, but this must be a magnificent park during the summer, full of rhododendron and other flowers. It's just super beautiful already, but imagine when everything is flowering. We went to Hedvigshus and there was an entire exhibition on the life a long time ago. And luckily, Danish is fairly easy to understand for a Swedish person.
Nu siger jeg tørrehuset, men tørrehuset, det der ude ved stallen, det rum der, man går ind i.
We kept walking around outside of the village and it was really a countryside area. We did find some more of those old houses, although many are apparently in private possession and we couldn't go so close, but they still look very adorable. And there was also lots of crafts outside of the houses. But eventually we had to start to turn back because we were getting hungry and we wanted to do a barbecue on the beach before the sun was down.
Good.
Next day we woke up early to a lot more wind than yesterday. Outside of the calm harbor it was already waves building up. So we tried to set sails as soon as possible to avoid the worst wind that was going to come in the afternoon. Sailing today has been a little bit rougher. It's a lot of steep waves and it's been super wet, and it's also super wet inside of the boat. That's not something I'm really happy about, but there's gonna be a lot of cleaning up afterwards because it seems like the hatch in the V-berth is leaking heavily in some directions of water flow. Okay, this is what happens when the hatch has something wrong going on with it. It's closed, and it's closed as much as it can be, but it's still not really working. So it washed in water for 3.5 hours. But most things got by really good, and there's a little bit of water left here. Only the spinnaker gets super wet, and also of course the cushions, but I discovered it fairly soon so I could stand them up like this. So yeah, it makes a little bit of a mess taking everything out of the boat, so it's like stuff pretty much everywhere for drying and high up for this who still is dried. But I'm just gonna fix the rest of this, and then we're gonna have a tour here in Denmark, because this is not the best place of arriving in a new country and ending up with like washing the boat entirely. So we are really curious to see the town, and we're gonna have some lunch first, and then take a tour and see if we could find some Danish pastry perhaps. It's a super windy day, so at least everything cleans up really fast, dries up really fast. And we left the stuff outside to dry up meanwhile we were gone. It was not a lot of people outside in this windy grey weather, and we started to look for a genuine warm Danish bar experience to end our day. And we found the place just as original as we hoped for. Although we were both a little shocked it was still allowed smoking indoors here. I want to deeply thank my Patreons for supporting the making of these episodes, and if you want to contribute you can also become a Patreon or buy me a coffee at the links below. If you haven't already, subscribe so you don't miss out. And if you appreciated this episode, please give it a big thumbs up.